All right, what's up, everybody? This is the GoatCast podcast, and this is opening night in the NBA. We are here. I didn't realize tonight. I thought tomorrow's opening night, so I'm sure you'd rather be here than watching inside the NBA, of course. But I'm CW, joined with my co-host Big Nige. What's going on, Big Nige?
Life is good. Work is good, and excited for the NBA season. It's finally back, and I look forward to a lot of great narratives that are going to be pushed across this season. I look for a lot of players to take the next step in their careers, and can't wait to see it, man.
I agree. And what's up, Casual? He's joining us again tonight. Thank you for stopping by with us.
What's going on? Going on, family? You guys doing all right today?
Doing pretty good. How about
Yes,
yourself?
sir.
Can't complain. Work, and more work.
Hey, every day.
Every
Amen.
day.
And I'm multitasking because I'm here and I got the game right here on the iPad. So if I look over, I'm just looking at what's going on in the game. But
Nah, he checking those stats, Chet. He checking those stats.
oh yeah, Big Nice didn't join the fantasy league, but we're gonna have to get you next time for the
Oh
with
man,
the
I ain't gonna lie. I wish you were there, bro. It was
Dang,
yeah
it,
I
it
didn't know,
was
I didn't know I
entertaining,
missed all that. Dang, my fault,
yeah.
man.
man.
So my team's looking pretty rough. I got Cade Cunningham and Giannis. I'm gonna have to rely on those guys to do the heavy lifting, but I might have to trade you Reed Shepard for Stephon Castle. I gotta have some more Spurs on my team.
Oh, if you really trying to do that, I
Now I
might
gotta
I
wait to
might
see how
pass.
he,
I
I
might
gotta
give you
wait
the
to see what he
pass.
does in his first game, and then
Oh,
we'll
nah,
we'll
nah, nah, nah.
see.
If that's some weight, man, I see you doing All-Star
I,
weekend.
I think he's gonna be pretty good. So I can't give up all my good players.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get right into this tonight. We're gonna start out with congrats to the New York Liberty for being the 2024 WNBA champions. Pretty good WNBA season this year is in the books. That game last night or the night before, was it last night or the night before? Because I
Night
watched it
before, night
night
before.
before. Okay, yeah, it was a game. We'll say that, and had its controversies. Was it a foul? Was it a travel? It's whatever you think. But we're gonna, congratulate the team that actually won, and that was the New York Liberty. Anything you
Mhm.
guys got to say about the new WNBA champions?
Oh, you want to go first, or?
I'll go first. I mean, I'll just make it quick. I mean, shout out to the champs. I mean, I haven't been super locked in on the WNBA recently. I've been pretty caught up on work and strenuous some weekend activities that require me to work as well. So I've been trying to catch and follow the WNBA as much as I could, but I'll just say that. But congrats to the WNBA champs and Sabrina. I think her last name is Ionescu.
That's good. Yeah,
ENSQ. Yeah, yeah.
Ionescu,
one for
unreal.
19.
it, it wasn't good, but she had her moments where she was amazing. So got to give her props along with the rest of that roster.
Yeah. Shout out to the Liberty. I before the postseason even started, said that the Liberty were gonna win. And for much of the reasons that I picked them is the reason why they actually pulled it out in the finals. Defensively, they maintained their integrity from start to finish. Brianna Stewart was not in her best form offensively,
Mhm.
but defensively, her rotations, her urgency to get back to the room, to protect it, and really just her foul baiting came to help the Liberty survive. Congratulations to the Lynx for making it to the WNBA finals. A lot of people did not even know who they were
Yeah.
going into this season. A lot of people were just assuming that the Aces were just going to run it back like they did the 2 years prior. And shout out to Nafisa Collier, because the one thing that I
Mhm.
don't want to go unnoticed is just because the Liberty won, don't get it twisted. Nafisa gave them everything they could
She
handle. That
did.
girl was she was an offensive wizard in that series. Shot creation was fantastic. And this was just a fantastic introduction to some of the casuals that maybe otherwise didn't know exactly what they were getting in the WNBA, but they got to witness it on full display during this 5 game series. Very, very, very great series.
Yeah, and it showed how both teams had to dig deep in these playoffs, in these
Hmm.
WNB finals, and it was just that's basketball in its purest form. When you have to actually play both sides, it's not just jacking up threes; it's actually having to come out with a game plan, having to execute. I really enjoyed it. Like the last game was a little rough. 67-62. Those are you know that's like I wouldn't say 80s. 80s had high scoring, but that's like 90s kind of basketball where it was all about physical defense. But it was a good end of a season, and I think the WNBA is in a good place right now, and I think it has nowhere to go but up. So props to them. It's a record-setting season, and I just hope they can keep that momentum going into the 2025 season. So someone that will not be starting in the 2025 season, that's Joel Embiid, who has discussed that he may not be playing back-to-backs from here on out. Embiid is not that old, but he is a big man, and big men, even in this what they want to call soft era, they're not as physical as they once were, but it's still a lot of load to take on when you're down there battling guys your size, sometimes bigger, and you got to get it done. You're pretty much the offensive weapon for your team. You got to get a lot done. So, do you guys think that's a wise move by Joel Embiid, or is that just kind of is he too young to be talking about not playing back to backs? And I'll let Casual. You can go first.
Um, I mean, okay, so I think on surface level, like you sort of there's a cap to where Joel Embiid deserves to be ranked under, and I think he understands that. Like you can't, so long the days of being compared to players like Jokic or Giannis, who they're playing 65 plus games a
Mhm.
season and going into the postseason, and even Luca. Is so you understand that you can't necessarily be compared to those caliber of players because they're doing what you're doing while also playing the full length season that is
Mhm.
available. However, in the long run of history, I think this is a brilliant move. I think it should have been done entirely sooner than it is now, but better late than never. Just because Joel Embiid has had multiple seasons, the year before last, where he played 68 games and he wasn't healthy going into the second round. And the year before that, he had the same issue, a broken face, wasn't able to play in the second round for his full length. So it's like at some point you do have to start to look at the information, the factual information that's before you, and realize that, hey, bro, Joel Embiid just may not be one of those players that can possibly physically be in those conversations because he's not going to be able to endure a full length regular season and postseason. So you got to decide which one matters most. And for the sake of the process, which Philadelphia started back in 2015, championship has always been the end
Mhm.
game. And so it's
Mhm.
time for you to go for that. He done got his MVPs, he's got his all NBA selections, he got his all-star selections. Now it's time to see if he can win a championship fully healthy.
Okay. Big Nice. What you think?
It's tough, man, because I see what the casuals talking about. I see in terms of the 76ers side of things, Joel Embiid side of things, you want to put your best foot forward. You want him healthy for the postseason. You understand the Sixers have been, easily a top 5 team in the regular season, but we need the big fella. MVP and B, we need him in the postseason. I mean, you saw what he did against New York on one leg, gave them everything he could handle. Even with his eye injury going on, his eye was kind of all over the place. We understand the greatness of Joel Embiid. However, the fan side of things, I mean, it's tough because like as a fan, you want to see Joel Embiid any chance you can get. And if you can only afford one ticket to see him once a year, and that's the game, oh, it's a back to back, you ain't gonna be able to see him that game. And I mean, you could, in him saying this early, maybe some fans can justify, okay, if he's playing it back to back, I know to buy tickets, game one, not game two when it's a back to back or whatever. There are some ways around it where it could work, but I just don't like it personally. If this is your marquee guy, he's been your marquee guy, the box office name. No, not playing back to backs doesn't sit well with me. But but just for the sake of argument, for the 76ers and seeing the history that he has had, I can understand it, but as a fan, I don't agree with it.
That's fair. And Pop, he did that with Duncan when Duncan wasn't super old. He was still not playing them in back to backs. He would be strategic on the games Duncan would play and the games Duncan would have to sit. So I could see that kind of being the Sixers strategy in this, because you've got a limited time with this team. With the aging Paul George, you do have a young guy with Tyrese Maxey, but you put a lot of effort into creating this team, and you want it ready to go in the playoffs. I mean, obviously they're a playoff team. You look at those Eastern Conference teams, and it's not hard. I mean, we got some college teams that could probably get into the playoffs in the Eastern Conference this year, but I just think you have to be strategic now, because you see what Boston has, you see the teams that you're up against, and that you will most likely be playing deep into the playoff run, and you got to have Joel Embiid. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's got to be out there. So you got it. So this is something you might have to do. Yes, it's bad for the fan side, because especially for those people out west, because you only get to see them once, where they come to your home. So if that's on them back to back, you don't get to see Joel Embiid all season. So yeah, from that perspective, it's not the greatest, but I think that for Philly and where they go forward, it's a necessary evil. And unfortunately, that's what, because of his body, you don't want another Kawhi Leonard where he's just not there. So you gotta take your precautions. So it sucks that he won't even be playing in the opener. I don't think he's playing all week this week. I think Paul George is day to day or something like that. But yeah. So we're going to see how Philly does with this new lineup, and if Joel Embiid, reducing his time can get them to the next level. But some teams that they'll most likely be looking at going forward are playing right now. But we're going to talk about the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks. This is the first game of the season. The defending champions, they just got their rings. If you haven't watched it, playing against a revamped New York Knicks who's going all in this season. They want it. They've gotten Mikal Bridges. They got rid of Julius Randle. Dante, I'm not going to try to say his last name. I always mess it up. So Dante
DiVincenzo. Yeah,
there
I
we
used to
go.
mess his name up too.
There we go. So they got rid of them and brought in Karl Anthony Towns from a Western Conference Finals Minnesota Timberwolves. So who needs this win the most tonight, and who do you think takes it? We'll go with Big Nine, since you're to my left.
Well, I'm not sure if either team really needs the victory. Considering it's game one, a lot of things are early. Celtics aren't going to have Porzingis, I think, up until like possibly December. And then, for the New York side of things, this is for the large part the same roster. Obviously, you're adding Karl Anthony Towns, you're adding Mikal Bridges, two players who, in my opinion, fit seamlessly with what the Knicks are trying to do. But you still need to integrate them into the offense successfully, get the continuity, get the reps together as a team. And, health is a big factor for both these teams. Obviously, like I said, Porzingis with Boston, we're going to have to see how that goes with them going forward. But for the regular season, I think Boston's going to be on cruise control. I mean, they'll probably win, their normal 50, 55, 50 plus games. And because players like Jaylen Brown have a chip on their shoulder, Jason Tatum's probably going to be looking to dominate after, what a lot of people consider a very embarrassing showing from him in the Olympics and, getting benched. I know that didn't sit well with him. I know he answered all the questions, professionally, but, that competitor in him, I know that he's looking to show everybody I feel like I'm the best player on this team, and to not get any minutes, it's still wild to me to this day. But I say all that, we understand what New York and Boston represent, two of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. Probably, and this is playing right now, so I know this is a great game that unfortunately I am not watching currently, unlike my man CW with the iPad.
It's right there.
Oh, I'm telling
It's
you
right
right
there.
now, I am watching it on my MacBook right now.
It's a good game too. It's back and forth. So yeah.
It's a game I don't want to miss, clearly. But
Yeah.
I'll finish by saying this. I think Boston's gonna take it. I think it's ring night. You ain't trying to lose on ring night, man. You just got your championship ring. You ain't trying to give your fans an L to open the season with. So I'm gonna have Boston coming out and winning this. Just on the fact that New York is still putting their pieces together. They're gonna give them everything they can handle. But I think Boston takes this in a convincing fashion.
All right, Casual. What do you think? I'm sure I know you're watching, so you
Oh
kind of got a
yeah.
little up on it. So
We're slightly past the half part of the first quarter. I'm gonna really echo Naj's points. I don't think neither one needs to win this game. Because I think for the Celtics, obviously to his point, Kristaps isn't playing, so they could just easily tell themselves, "All right, we lost this game. We didn't have our tertiary scoring option, so we'll see them next time." And even for the Knicks, I think they could look at this as it's okay. Truth be told, they probably don't come into TD Garden thinking that they have the best shot at winning anyway. So they probably say something along the lines of, we'll see them as we continue our team chemistry and we'll get them next time. So I don't think neither one of these teams have to win. But if I have to pick, I would probably say the Knicks want to win it more.
mhm.
Just because even with the Celtics, like I said, if they whether they win or lose, they're working towards waiting for Kristaps to come back. In the Knicks' case, how big of a swing this would be for the Knicks if they beat the defending champions, the team that they designed this versatile wing group, for. How amazing would it be if we actually knocked them off in the first game of the season before we even truly got our footing, So I would say the Knicks, but um, as far as who I think is going to win, I'm gonna go with the Knicks. Right now the Celtics are up by 7, but I feel like the reason why is because the Knicks they've only taken two threes so far. And we know that they can get them up if need be. So the fact that Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges are the only ones that got up 1-3, I'm expecting Karl Anthony Towns at some point to up the aggression. I'm expecting Jalen Brunson to definitely take more than just 3 shots in a quarter. I just think they're just being timid and they're not trying to step on each other's toes. But as the game goes, I expect them to be more free flowing. And it's not like the Celtics aren't giving them the opportunities; they're just not
Mhm.
taking it. Like
Yeah.
Miles McBride got an open three, but for some reason he stood there and waited for the screen to come so that he could take a tough mid range shot. So like I expect for them to get loose over time, and I'm gonna ride with the Knicks. But the Celtics are up by 10 now, so I might be looking foolish.
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking on what you guys said, neither team needs this win. I mean, they're both obviously playoff teams. So, opening night, you just fill them with emotions. There's nervousness. There's, just all that. But I think if I'm the Knicks, I want to come out and just massacre the defending champions and show that this new team that they've created is above and beyond, and we're here to stay. So I think this is a game that the Knicks want to win right now. It's not looking good for them. And like you said, they haven't shot a lot of threes. I think Mikal Bridges just took one. But it's a game that if I'm Boston, I'm like, we're the champions. We know we can get it done. We'll probably win 60 games again. This Eastern Conference isn't the greatest, so we're gonna ramp it up when we need to. But I think both. Dang, Tatum is going off, but I think both
Bro got
Jaylen Brown and
15 in the
Jason
first
Tatum
quarter.
are
He is on a
this
mission.
season is their chip on their shoulders season. They're going to come out and show them Jalen what they missed in him not being on the Olympic team, and Jason Tatum on what they missed by putting him on the bench on that Olympic team. So I think they're going to come out and they want some respect, and I think they're going to cruise back to probably the NBA Finals. But neither team needs it, but I think the Knicks want it because they want to show what they have, and Boston, they're just
Stop
doing what
being
they do.
difficult.
Yeah. So
Though I don't understand exactly why it is,
what's
but
that?
like, do you see this, CW? Like, why are the Knicks making their shots more difficult
Yeah.
than they have to
I
be?
mean,
Like
they're
Jalen
just
Brunson had
taking
a
some
wide open
crazy
corner
shots.
three,
Yeah.
and he runs into Derek White.
Yeah.
Like like, what's going on?
They're going to have to work that out. That's
Yeah.
definitely a first night kind of. We got to work out some offensive kinks because Boston. I mean, they're bringing back everybody. This is kind of a new look for the Knicks for the most part. So maybe that's just they just got to get used to each other, and but there's no excuse for taking bad shots. That's just not something you can excuse. But
But shout
moving
out
on
Tatum
from
because
what's
Tatum is
up?
going crazy. No, I was just saying shout out to Tatum because he's going crazy. 15
Yeah,
points in the
he's
first quarter
Statham he's out there
is
to play.
yeah.
But game 2 on the night, which I'm hoping to get to see the full game, without having to go back and forth. But my man Big Nine just Los Angeles Lakers take on the
Oh, you a Lakers fan? Gosh.
he's a
No,
LeBron fan.
There you go. There you go.
Oh
Um
Lord.
takes on a team that's fresh off the Western Conference Finals. Ran into a team that just did work on them, but now they have a new look a little bit to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And this one, same questions for this one, but this one I think is going to be an interesting game because it's going to tell us where both teams kind of are. Not much hype for the Lakers. They didn't make many changes over the offseason other than the huge one, number 55, Bronny James, who was a game changer. They did get him, and what's his name?
Dalton Connect.
Dalton Connect, yeah, who Charles Barkley's going crazy over. They did add those two guys and brought back a bulk of the team from last season. Minnesota, of course, traded away their number 2 option, Karl Anthony Towns, and they bring in Julius Randle and Dante, his last name. So, so what do you guys think? Is this a must win for either team? Who needs it more? Same question. We'll start with casual this time.
It's a must win for the Lakers. Like very easily. They need to get off to a hot start so that they could be able to they need to get they need to get a foot on the Western Conference just so that they can finish the season winning by an inch. I think the Lakers are best designed to like win if they have home court advantage. But the only way you're gonna have home court advantage in the Western Conference this year is if you have
Oof.
55 plus wins.
That's gonna be
It's a tough
tough.
conference.
That's
Yeah.
tough.
So they need to win. They need to beat Minnesota so that they can have their confidence up when they meet these elite teams because Minnesota is still an elite team. So they need to beat them, and it's not like it's impossible because they're playing at home, right?
Yeah.
So it makes no reason. I mean, they look good during the preseason. LeBron has gotten well rested. He missed the last game against Phoenix, getting prepared for tonight. So he should play, and he looks like he's in shape. Anthony Davis looks like he's primed for one of his best offensive seasons. JJ Redick has been running the offensive scheme primarily around him, so he should be nice.
Smart. Yeah.
I love Dalton Connect and what he brings. He brings that athleticism that they needed at the wing spot so desperately. I like the Lakers' chances, but they definitely do need to come out with a win tonight.
Do you think they win tonight?
No, I do not. Minnesota defense is still like they still have like an
Yeah, their
elite
defense is crazy.
defense, and Anthony Edwards during the preseason showed like potential of like a playmaker developing. So there's points that shows that they should be good, and it's not like Julius Randle's look bad in the moments that he's been there. It's just going to be a little bit of a workaround on the offensive end. But the one thing that you know that you're going to get from Minnesota is that defensive integrity is going to be there.
Yeah.
And against the Lakers, as much as I think that they've improved defensively, it's going to take some time for them to adjust to JJ Redick's scheme.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if they got enough time to adjust for it against Timberwolves, because when they get to attacking the rim, they attack that rim.
I agree. Before Big Nines goes, the Boston Celtics are spanking the New York Knicks right now. So just
It's
thought I'd
just
throw that
43
in
to
there.
34. God, golly.
So what you got, Big Nige?
So again, this one's kind of tough. Um, I think the Lakers definitely need this win. Like the casual said, like the Lakers are just notorious for like slow starts, whether it's the game, the season. You know, they'll come into the first quarter poised and looking like they're ready to play, and then fall off in the second quarter. They could go up 10 in the first and then be down 15 going into halftime. So it's the pattern that I've seen with the Lakers is they tend to always play from behind. And I don't know if you want to put that to coaching effort. You can put that in many different directions, but I think setting the tone for this season would be good to, maybe not play from behind, put a good amount of effort in the beginning of the game so you don't have to try twice as hard toward the end of the games, to dig yourself out of these holes you find into the third quarter, into the second quarter. But I say all that, looking at Minnesota, obviously they still have hellacious defense. They do lose Karl Anthony Towns, so they do lose some of that gravity, and obviously that spacing that allows Anthony Edwards to do his thing. Julius Randle, not the biggest fan. Not saying he's a scrub, just not the biggest fan of him personally in his game. But what I will say that he can provide a matchup problem for the Lakers, considering I think he's better at attacking mismatches. So if the Lakers were to put smaller guards on him, I think he would do a better job than Towns would at like bullying those mismatches personally, because I think he plays more of like the low block bully ball kind of vibe that, sometimes you would feel Towns should play more like. And then on the other end, you would want Julius Randle, being an undersized power forward, to step out and hit that three a little bit more consistently, like we see Karl Anthony Towns. So it's a bit of a trade-off there. They still have, great shooting in the Minnesota Timberwolves. Bringing in DiVincenzo, that's a really, really nice pickup for them. I actually look for him to have a pretty decent game coming out, depending on the role he comes in and plays. But either way, he's one of those spark plugs you bring off the bench. He can light you up quick, get you about 16 to 20 at any given night, especially when he's on fire. So I think he's going to come out and get the opportunity, get the green light, and the Lakers' perimeter defense can be a little bit suspect. So Anthony Edwards is going to have a field day getting whatever he wants. There's no guard that's fast enough, strong enough to stay with him. Please don't put D'Angelo Russell on him. It will be a long night for him. Same thing with Reeves. Connect. Don't do that, man. Don't do that rookie like that. He's going to have to be a team concept to guard him.
I
mean, they send him to Anthony Davis, but don't make that your primary focus, because that's how Anthony Davis gets in foul trouble. Like, you need to be able to stay in front of your man, make him shoot tough fall away jumpers. Do not let him get, don't let Anthony Edwards get into the paint consistently. Give him some resistance. Load up if you need to. Now that they don't have as much spacing with Towns, and say you bring in Randle, you can kind of pack the paint a little bit and just dare Randle to shoot. I mean, that's not a bad idea if I'm the Lakers. But I also need to see I need to see what LeBron looks like. Is he coming out lethargic, or is he coming out poised, ready to go? Because I know LeBron loves the pass. I know he's a pass first guy at times, but it can be to the detriment of the Lakers when he doesn't come out with the fervor and the intensity that he does in other games. So I think this is a game where LeBron definitely needs to assert himself early and then get everybody else involved as the game allows. Don't give it to them too early, and now you got a deficit because you're giving the ball to D'Angelo Russell, Reeves, these other guys, and their shots are not falling. You got to understand to take control of the game earlier so that you guys do not find yourself in these holes. And please, for the love of God, play through Anthony Davis. Just like the casual said, and just like the schemes have shown so far in the preseason, you're playing through Anthony Davis. I need to see that consistently. I don't need to see that for 5 games and then give the reins back to LeBron for 20. Play through Anthony Davis. Let LeBron play off the ball at times, that the game calls for it, and let the Lakers figure out how to play through Anthony Davis, get the other guys better shots, get Rui some more involvement in the offense. And I think that'll be a recipe for the Lakers to be not only winners of this game, but put them in a good position to, contend this year and not win a championship because I ain't that crazy, but just be better than last year. That's all you can ask for.
I mean, y'all do have a chance to be back-to-back in-season tournament champions. So, I mean, there's that. But, yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you. I think this is Minnesota's game to lose. But I think that the Lakers would benefit way more with the win here because that'll instill some confidence into that team that will surely need it, as they're going to have to fight a murderer's row of teams out west. The West is stacked once again. And if the Lakers don't put it together early, they can't do like they've been doing and start off, 2-8 and 2-10 and, just barely at 500 when it comes to, all-star time and then try to ramp it up. We can't do that in this Western Conference. Most of those teams have gotten better outside of very few, and the few that maybe didn't get better, maybe Minnesota's a little worse, Denver's, a little susceptible, but those are still teams that 9 times out of 10 would beat the Lakers and probably will probably beat them throughout the season. So they got to make sure they're beating these teams that when it comes down to it, they might have to have a game or two over them so that I can, get a good spot in the playoffs or unfortunately play in for where they've been most of these last few seasons. But they have to get it done tonight, and it's going to be a tough game because, like you said, even without Cat, Minnesota's defense is just crazy. You got Jaden McDaniels, Mike Conley, of course, Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid. All those guys are solid defenders, and they're a team
Gil
that
Alexander Walker. Damn,
Oh
they
yeah,
stacked.
exactly. I didn't even think about him. Yeah, they have defenders just to throw out there, and the Lakers aren't the best shooting team. I think Dalton Connect will help them there some, but they're going to have to play a smart game. And I haven't watched probably any of the Lakers so far in the preseason. I think I watched a little bit for Bronny, but if they're running their offense through Anthony Davis, that's their best bet. And that's going to be their way to win in basketball because running what they've ran for the last 2 seasons is not going to work. You can love LeBron. I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, and he's a great player. I will admit that, but he can't be your focal point in an offense right now. He's got to be someone that can get you buckets, but he shouldn't be your main guy making buckets. You got to run that through AD, and he's shown that last season. He's shown that even some in the Olympic Games. You got to give him the ball. You got to run through him. So if the Lakers do that, I think they make this a close game. If they don't do that, I think Minnesota runs away. But this will be Ant-Man's time to shine. He's got to do it now because we've heard the Jordan comparisons. We've heard all of that. Now this is his team true and true because he is the main guy. So he's got to show the world that he's ready to take that next step, take this team to the next level. It's going to be a little tougher now because Julius Randle he's not Cat. So you're going to have to, change the way you play a little bit with him in there. But this is his time to shine. And I think tonight, opening night, he's going to come out. He's going to have a chip on it. He always seems to have a chip on his shoulder. So he's going to come out ready to play. And it's going to be an interesting game. I think the first 2 quarters will be pretty telling on how this game will probably the ebbs and flows of this game. So I think it's going to be a good game, actually. I think it's going to, both teams want to win the opening night. And, I don't know if LeBron will be filled with the emotions of his son coming in at some point because they're going to have to do that just for the sake of the ratings. They're going to have to put Bronny out there for 2 minutes so they can get that get that blurb that they can put out tomorrow. But it's going to be a high emotion night, and I think it's going to be a fun game, just like this game that's on right now, where Boston is once again dismantling the Knicks right now. But So our last section of tonight, I found a site with some pretty interesting predictions for this season. They're not by me, even though some of them might sound like something I would say. They are not my predictions. They are from somebody. This is SirCharlesInCharge.com, even though that's my name, but it wasn't me. So I'm gonna read these off, and I'm gonna let you guys tell me how you feel about this. If it's something you think is truthful, or if it's they're crazy for this. And number one, you would think would come from me, but it's not. But number one says Victor Wembanyama will be the best player in the NBA by the end of the year. Yay or nay from you guys?
Nah.
I had a feeling that was going to be the answer. Yeah.
Jokic is too better.
Yeah, can I get that a hell no?
Give it what you want to give, whatever you want to.
Oh yeah, hell no. What? Like Jokic? I guess Jokic and Giannis they just disappeared, didn't they?
They retired.
They must have. They must have. I guess Luka Doncic just like he just took his hat. He just took his name out the hat, huh?
According to Sir Charles in Charge, he feels like Wemby's going to make a huge leap because to surpass those guys, it's going to take something I haven't seen. So yeah, I agree with you guys.
Do we get a chance to explain?
Yeah.
I think when it comes to like requirements for like not just top 5 but just top 10, like to be in those conversations, the things you have to do as far as impacting the game on like a multitude of levels, it's not that easy. Like I understand Victor Wembanyama's defensive upside, but that's not just enough for you to be ahead of. Like when we think about it, players like Jokic, Giannis, Embiid when he's on the court, Shea Gildress Alexander, Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Jason Tatum, even hell, even players like not Anthony, Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell are like in and out of these conversations because it's the competition is just that stiff. The competition, the things that you have to do on the offensive and defensive level, or if you're not giving it on the defensive level, your offense has to be like transcendent in as far as like a passer, playmaker, scorer, the way in which you score, does it translate in the postseason? Like those type of things get taken into account. And so when it comes to to Victor Wembanyama, are we by the end of the season, will he be in top 15 conversations? Absolutely. That's where Bam is. For you to exceed Bam offensively, you got to provide more because as it stands right now, as a rebounder, would we say confidently that Victor Wembanyama is a better rebounder than Bam?
No, that's the one part of his game that's not the greatest.
Is it a conversation? Is it even a conversation between Bam Adebayo's playmaking and passing or Victor Wembanyama's?
No.
So that's what I'm saying. Like for these conversations to truly be entertained, you have to be that transcendent of a talent on one end while also giving like great production for you to get into top 10 conversations. And God forbid you want to get in top 5 conversations. Like you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like that the thing that you have to do, Bam is not in like anybody that has Bam in the top 10 is looked at with a side eye. And that's crazy, but that's how competitive those conversations are.
I was going to say maybe they meant center, but even there, he's not going to be the best center in the NBA.
Nope.
So yeah,
Jokic exists.
Yeah, Sir Charles, that was his. That's not my take, but yeah. So we disagree with him on that one, to say the least. And I agree with you, players ball. He said Jaylen Brown, De'Aaron Fox. Yeah, I mean, Victor's got a few more seasons before we can give him. He can even be in the conversation with that. I believe he's great. He's going to be good. He's going to be the face of the league at some point, but got to take baby steps. He's not quite there yet, and on a team that's not really poised to do much. this season. So the second bold prediction, this one's pretty bold. The Golden State Warriors will finish as a top 4 seed in the West.
No, God.
Oh, so this is
No.
just these are hot takes.
Yeah, these
Shout
are a
out to
little
y'all,
spicy.
man.
A little
Y'all ain't,
spicy.
y'all ain't messing around.
A little spicy, but yeah.
I'll leave it to Nas to explain why this is crazy. But yeah, no, it's a no for me.
There's a plethora of reasons why that is completely not happening. I don't really need to go into detail. I mean, everybody's reaction is plenty enough just to save the effort of time. But like, come on, man, this roster is kind of gross. Like, sure, they made some improvements and they might not be as bad as some people have them out to be, but come on now, top 4, that's ridiculous. That doesn't even need an explanation. That's ridiculous.
I don't know what Western Conference he's looking at, but yeah, that's
Maybe about 6 years ago.
Yeah, he
almost close to,
he looking at the Western Conference in 2022. That's what he was.
yeah, that's almost impossible with the lineup that the Warriors will be putting out there to get a 4 spot, let alone a play-in tournament spot.
Yeah.
So we'll move on, and these it's getting a little less spicier, but the Milwaukee Bucks will continue to fall apart.
All right, y'all watch your mouth. Y'all leave my Bucks alone. Y'all leave my Bucks alone.
I disagree. I think
right.
Milwaukee will be fine this year. I think they're gonna figure it out. Dame's gonna have to learn how to play with Giannis, and he had a whole season. So hopefully he learned from that and will bring that into this season.
It's funny. We was actually just talking about that in our Discord. They look so much better. Dame looks so much more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
The pick and rolls actually look like they have like they understand the importance of setting the screen and remaining there rather than just trying to get it over with so that you could get into the role position. Um, everything looks nice with what we have, but we do need some pieces. And we do need to release some pieces, like Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton needs to be traded this year. I don't know if anybody isn't aware, but Chris Middleton is an older player who's not as athletic, relies more on difficult shot making, which he's still capable of doing so. But at the end of the day, that really um, it really becomes a tough thing to rely on in the postseason because that's a lower percentage shot, especially when you take into account
Mm-hmm.
that most of the shots he take is in the mid range, and that's one of the least efficient shots on the basketball court. Um, so we need to make some transactions to be able to get our team better, younger, and if not younger, just more athletic.
Yes.
And so will we be worse? Will we continue to fall apart? No, I don't think so because we're not falling apart. Even last year, we didn't fall apart. We were still a 3rd seed. It's just
Exactly. Yeah.
Giannis went down, and even if Giannis is there, we're making it to the 2nd round for sure. And especially going up against the Knicks, I like our chances, especially as they fell apart,
Mm-hmm.
injury wise. So Eastern Conference Finals matchup with the Boston Celtics, I actually view as just about where we thought we would be. So I
Where
don't
it
think
should
we're
have been.
falling apart. Yeah, well, we should have been. So I don't think we're falling apart. Um, but is there some things that need to be done for us to continue to make our destination a good place for Giannis to see himself in for years to come? 1000%. But that's every star.
Yeah. Big Nige, anything?
It's hard to put a lot of faith in this team with Doc Rivers as your head coach.
I knew
Get
that was
Coach
coming up.
Bud back, man.
I
What
knew
he's
that.
doing over there
Fight
in
back,
Phoenix,
Doc.
he is making that Phoenix Suns roster actually watchable. But that's neither here nor there. The only thing I can see that could make you guys fall even worse is just injuries. I think another year together, it's going to do you guys so well. Like you said during the preseason, they've looked better, and I've seen a few of their preseason games. Like they look better. They look more cohesive as a unit.
Mhm.
but Chris Middleton is already hurt. You know, that's it's already starting. And I know you don't want to look at it now, but I'm telling you, man, Dame is right behind him. You can come back to this video in maybe about a month or so. Look, Middleton will come back when he comes back. I don't remember his timetable, but I know he's gonna miss the opener and maybe a couple games after that. I'm not sure. Dame Dollar,
He's on day to day right now.
he's day to day, and Dame
Yeah.
Dollar is gonna be day to day with him. Give me a month,
Ooh.
circle back. Look, these are older guys, man. The only person who I think is gonna be back and looking, like his old self is Giannis. But I think this roster, they do need to make some moves. But will they continue to crumble? I think injuries will be a large part of that. And of course, the blame game, Doc Rivers, who's going to deflect all the post game questions, blame his team, and take no accountability for some of his lack of coaching.
We'll probably have to talk about this on a later day, but I think you're being a little too hard on not just Doc Rivers, but just everybody. Like Dame played 50 something games last year, but part of that was they decided to rust him a little bit, and then another part of it is just he came into that season out of shape,
Mhm.
and we knew he came in out of shape because of him dealing with his marital issues. Don't want to get too much into the off the court things, but also him getting traded like literally on the back end of the offseason, like that's
Yeah.
a what I'm saying, that throws you for a whirl spin. And especially when Milwaukee wasn't one of the teams that he put Miami.
He
You know
did.
what I'm saying? He won in
Yeah.
Miami. I think that was something that I think all of us as like Bucks fans and just them in the on the roster had to adjust to. They actually did pretty fine. And even for Giannis, like I understand like your thought process with Dame, him being older, but Dame doesn't have a game that's really that physical, and especially over the last couple of seasons, he's been even more perimeter oriented. And that's sort of what we need because Giannis handles more than enough of the interior pressure that we look for. Um, but I think for us, it's really just maintaining health going into the postseason. Even if let's say Dame plays 60 something games and Giannis plays 60 something games. He played 73 last year, but this year he's said in interviews during media day that his priority is to make it into the postseason healthy this year
Mhm.
because he hasn't had the opportunity to do that for the last 2 years. So let's say he plays 60 something games and Chris Middleton plays 60 something games. That will still get us as like a top four seed, if not just four.
Yeah.
And that's still fine because that's still home court advantage, one. And then two, that would leave us with a matchup against potentially like Cleveland or Orlando. I like our chances against them. And so like I think for us, you've been a little too hard on the stars, specifically Dame. And then for Doc, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, bro. I understand the lack of adjustments, the narrative around that, and it's true. Not saying that it's not a true narrative, but at the same time, that's the case for a lot of coaches, bro. Like you don't get in his coaching style doesn't get exposed into the second round. It's not a coincidence that his coaching style doesn't get exposed into the second round for just no reason. Like typically the best coaches in those conferences, the Eric Spoelstras, who he religiously get exposed by, Ime Udoka in 2020, no, in 23, Joe Mazzulla, like those type of coaches, they adjust, especially
Mhm.
defensively. That's
Mhm.
right up the kryptonite of what Doc Rivers is. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna make adjustments on the defensive end. He's not making adjustments on the offensive end. So then that ends up getting him in the end. Where I think that we're fine, we actually have the pieces that can be able to wing it. See, when he played on Philly, he was playing, it was a James Harden that had dealt with a hamstring injury, so he couldn't be able to create like he used to.
Mhm.
Add to that fact, Joel Embiid was hurt. So he damn sure couldn't give you the mobility for creation like he did in the regular season. So you had to rely on Tyrese Maxey to bail you out. For us, Dame isn't dealing with a hamstring injury. He had like an abdomen injury and it was like a sprained Achilles and they stopped it. Like as soon as he felt something like off, they immediately shut him down for the rest of that postseason against Indiana because it's not worth it. So we don't have to worry about that. And even with Giannis, they stopped him as soon as he sprained it in the Celtics game before the postseason started. So he ain't
Yep.
dealing with that either. None of us is dealing with mobility issues. So well, I think we're actually in a good position to be able to fight through the Doc Rivers non-adjustments because we have the personnel that can be able to figure it out on their own. And that's typically the way he likes to coach anyway.
I'm all for the Bucks winning. I'm a Giannis fan, so I want them to do good. It's gonna be tough, but let's hope they can pull it together this season. They play what tomorrow? They play Philly first, don't they?
Yeah, we play Philly. We play Philly,
Yeah.
but Philly don't have Joel
Yeah, they
Embiid
ain't
and
gonna
Paul
have
George ain't gonna be there, so we're gonna be fine.
Embiid or George. So
They might sit. I ain't gonna lie to you. We might sit out Giannis
oh yeah.
just because just because they're doing
Well,
it.
no,
Like,
I
why are
need
we
him
playing
because he's on my fantasy team, so I need him out there, please.
Yeah, I trade you Giannis. Giannis for Scotty Barnes.
You trying to take all my players, man. The little few I got. And players ball, I got a quick question. Do you think Paul George will accept his role as a third option on the Sixers? I'm waiting to see that, but of course we got to wait. But I want to see if he's going to accept being a vet third option this season, because I don't think he's going to take to it as well as some people think he will. The next bold prediction, and this one I think we're going to agree with. The Minnesota Timberwolves will take a step back after a Western Conference Finals run. We probably all agree with that.
Yeah.
In his recent career. Okay. So next one is the New York Knicks will win fewer regular season games than last season. What do you guys think?
Do we know how much they won last season? Kind of curious. I forgot
I
how
can
much.
pull it up.
Because I want to say what were they?
They were
I don't remember what their win total was, but the question was what? Are they going to win more? Or
they were
less?
50-32. It says
50
they're going to win less regular season games.
I don't think they'll win. The only way I can see them winning less than 50 games is like, again, if like an injury happens where one of the key guys like Brunson goes down. But I think this roster's constructed in a way like it's built for the regular season. Like how you guys had mentioned earlier. It's kind of got like a Boston Celtics kind of clone to it in terms of the wing versatility. I think the way that this team plays is tailor-made for the regular season. But their matchup, which eventually, like we're seeing against Boston, I just think they're a little on the smaller side. Like they have the versatility that Boston has. They check those boxes, but when they actually match up to the original, they're just a smaller, kind of inferior version of it. In pretty much all positions.
The Cat's giving them something tonight. He's playing pretty tough.
But yeah, I don't see them winning less unless a major injury. I don't know if they'll win like significantly more than 50 games. I think they might hover maybe around 50, 52, 53. Like they're not going to go crazy in the regular season, but I don't think they'll go below 50 games.
Oh, Players Ball says 49. Oh, he says less this season. Well, I know they're not winning tonight.
Is he saying the Knicks or what?
Yeah,
he's saying the Knicks.
49. Oh wow,
that's low. I get it though, but I don't. I mean,
how many games did they win last year?
50.
I don't see why they wouldn't win 50 or if not more.
Right.
Well, I know they won't be winning this game tonight, so.
Yeah, so long for my hope.
Yeah, unless they have a crazy comeback, they're not winning tonight. So we'll move along. This is number 6 bold prediction. It will finally click for the Phoenix Suns, and they will make a Western Conference Finals run. I see that face. The Phoenix Suns will get to the Western Conference Finals. this season?
No, I no. Like I like what they're doing, and when your quote said like they'll put it together, I think you'll get some better basketball. Like you don't see
Okay.
like the ISO between KD, Booker, and Bill, them operating in the same spots, kind of having redundancy in the offense. I think with Bud, obviously, I'm seeing better sets. We'll see how that
Mhm.
looks throughout the regular season. But when we talk about Western Conference, nah, they just again they don't have an enforcer. They don't they still lack like the necessary rebounding. Um, even though they got was it Tyus Jones, right?
Who
At the point guard position that they just signed. It's one of the Jones brothers. I'm pretty sure it's Tyus Jones, but
yeah, it's gotta be
he
because his brother Trey Jones is playing for the Spurs.
yeah, that's right. I was making sure. But yeah, and that is a good addition to the point guard position. But
Which
again,
they need.
is he going to be able to, set that table up to that degree that, a guy like Kevin Durant's going to come off the ball to let him run the offense? Devin Booker, like, no, these are guys who get that board and they go. They're not looking. I'm not looking for Tyus Jones. Like this is Tyus Jones we're talking about. So I think if they had somebody who garnered their respect as a traditional point guard, maybe even to a lesser extent, maybe Chris Paul, Draymond, like somebody. I'm just throwing names out there because I don't know the ideal point guard for this team right now. But if they would address that in the rebounding and maybe get like one or two, maybe like grittier defenders, I think you could maybe see them make a case. But without those things, I can't see them getting past the first round.
I genuinely don't see any way that the Phoenix Suns can win a championship. Like their identity just there's no defense. There's no defensive intensity or consistency there. Like even for KD, like you're relying on what is he 30 something now? You're
Who
relying
who
KD. You're relying on
KD is
you're relying on a
30,
36-year-old. Is he
I
36?
believe
Yeah,
he's
you're relying
36.
on a 36-year-old. He just turned 36 in September. So
Yeah.
shout out to Katie. But you're relying on a 36-year-old to be like your primary like rim protector because you know you're not getting it out of Nurkic, and that's the problem right there.
Yeah.
Now add to the fact that you're asking a player like Devin Booker to be one of your primary perimeter defenders, and even though I think he's improved, that's not a strong suit. So you're having people be things that they just aren't. You know what I'm saying? Like, and especially, and this is key. You're asking KD to be the best player, KD or Devin Booker, depending on which
Yeah.
one you think is better. You're asking them to be the best player on a championship team, which neither of them is capable of being at this point in time. And that's that's really the gist of like their whole issue. And add to the fact that defensively they can get attacked in a multitude of different ways, and they don't have the personnel to truly make any adjustments. It's almost like you can get killed going to the rim, you can get killed on
Mhm.
the perimeter, and you don't have the personnel to be able to do anything about it. And for me, I'm looking at the Western Conference alone, and there's a slew of teams that have the personnel and the schemes to be able to do pretty much whatever they want against the Phoenix Suns. And
Exactly.
if they survive that gauntlet, you have Boston waiting for you. And truth be told, Phoenix currently ain't that much different from Brooklyn when KD was playing there and he got smoked in.
Yeah.
It ain't
I
that big of a
mean,
difference.
and
And
this
so like
this
that's the
you know,
biggest problem. Like they don't I think when it comes to the Phoenix Suns, they're in that purgatory, like shout out to Naj, like LA, where it's like you have these players that have so much box office attraction that it doesn't make sense for you to give up on it so easily, but you ultimately already know where you're heading. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to win a championship. If you make it out of the second round in the Western Conference, that's already a successful postseason run.
yeah.
What are we doing here? What is the goal?
Yeah, I was gonna say they're kind of like the old D'Antoni Suns, but that team was able to win a lot of games in the regular season, just couldn't win in the playoffs. This team, I don't see winning a ton of games in the regular season either. I mean, I think they'll be a playoff team, but them getting to the Western Conference Finals it would take an act of the basketball gods giving them the perfect matchups each round. And even then, I don't think they could do it, because if you want to see scoring, they can do that in bunches. They got scores, but you can't stop nobody. And the Western Conference has guys you got to be able to stop. And if you can't, then most of them are also constructed well as a team, that they have guys that may not give you 20, but guys that can give you something on those nightly basis that will help you win games. So I just don't think, piggybacking on what you guys said, the defense is just not there. And I don't see them I thought Royce O'Neal would be a good pickup for them last season. He was okay, but he didn't move the needle at all for them, and they pretty much fell apart in the playoffs. So I see the same thing. Minnesota just toyed with them, and if they play Minnesota again, I think the same thing will happen. So
It'll be the same result. Same
yeah,
result.
they're going to get
And
them brooms out and sweep them. So
facts. And you mentioned Phoenix back in the day with Steve Nash and them. Man, part of the reason why they were even it was even fine with you like thinking like ideally they could be competing with the San
mhm,
Antonio Spurs and Los Angeles Lakers was due to they brought something that nobody else from the Western Conference had an answer for it. They were really fast, they were first in pace,
yeah,
they were the best offense, like routinely one of the greatest offenses that we ever seen. And more importantly, because they were moving so fast and because they were
mm,
getting efficient shots in transition so often, it made for an offense that could translate in the postseason. The Phoenix Suns currently are like middle of the pack, literally middle of the pack when it comes to pace. And
mhm,
most of their shot diet is by KD and Devin Booker, and it's
yep,
coming from the mid range.
yep. And that's a recipe for disaster.
And that's a recipe for disaster, especially when you're going up against teams like Minnesota, teams like OKC, and teams like Denver, who literally want you to shoot mid range just because
Yep,
you already know on their end, they finna get a productive shot every
yep,
single time.
yep. Big Nines, what you think about that trade? You going to trade D'Lo for Bradley Beal?
Nah, man.
You
If I'm
good with?
Phoenix, it doesn't move the needle. You can honestly say Phoenix might get worse depending on who you ask, but it doesn't really address playmaking. It doesn't address defense. It's a net negative for both
Yeah,
sides, honestly.
if I'm Phoenix, I would not even touch that. I wouldn't even take the phone call. D'Lo's going to mess all that up. Not that Bill's the greatest, but I think he fits a little bit better with what they're trying to do out there. So we're going to go through these last ones quickly. It is halftime, and of course, the Knicks are down by a good amount. And here's another one that I'm sure we can all agree on. The Miami Heat will finish as a top 3 seed in the East. Absolutely not.
No, no chance.
What you think, Casual? Are the Miami Heat a top 3 Eastern Conference team? Or he might be off. So we're gonna move. We're gonna keep moving. Now I'm okay. This ain't coming from me, but the San Antonio Spurs will make the play-in tournament. Absolutely, yes, they will. Still a tough Western Conference, but I say my Spurs will make it into the play-in tournament this season.
Nah, no chance. Y'all improved, I think, a little bit, but enough for the play-in. I just still think the West
The
is too
Clippers
loaded.
are going to be out. The Clippers are done for.
They're better at the play-in than y'all are, though. They have a better chance of making the play-in than the Spurs.
The Clippers?
Yeah.
No. Golden State.
Better than the
I think.
Spurs.
Nah. We're going to leave that alone because that'll be for another. We're going to show y'all when we beat Dallas on Thursday. So we'll show y'all. I see Player Ball
Lord.
says no, sir, but we'll show y'all this year that we are a team to be reckoned with. We might not be 6-1, but we're going to be in that play-in. Okay, he agrees with me. Due to Chris Paul, yeah, Chris Paul's going to make a big difference.
Chris Paul going to play like 30 games before he goes down with some crazy injury. Come on now, you can't put your success on Chris Paul. He ain't gonna play. He ain't
got to do much. He just got to throw it up there, lob it up to a guy with an 8'1" wingspan.
Y'all will win more
games.
games.
I just came back. What am I hearing right now?
Craziness.
What am I hearing right now?
The San Antonio Spurs will make the play-in tournament. Yes, they will.
I want you to really, really think about this. Really, you don't have to do this. I know you're a San Antonio fan, but like it's
Spurs, okay. The Spurs. I mean, we got the greatest player, according to this, the greatest player that will be the greatest player by the end of the season.
Do you believe that?
Yeah, I believe that.
You think he'll be the best player in the world?
When it comes to this question, I mean, this
he said, "I believe it right now." It's crazy.
And we got the point guard. We got Harrison Barnes. We got Devin Vassell. We got a young core. A few veterans thrown in.
I'll send you a drug test at the end of the show.
Yeah,
I'll get you right. I'll get you right.
That's all right.
Hey, I'm riding with my team. We're gonna be there.
No, you're right. You should ride with the team. And let's not get crazy. Let's not get crazy.
Players ball knows what he's talking about. So we got somebody with some sense in here.
All right.
So moving right along. The next prediction, not bad. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will win the NBA MVP. Ooh. I think since they snubbed, I don't think he was snubbed last season, but I think that his name's going to be on the radar a little bit more this season, especially if OKC gets that one spot in the Western Conference. I think unless Luka just has crazy season, I think they give it to Shai. What you guys think?
I'm trying to think.
Not much love for SGA.
I got love for SGA, but at the same time, it's like, bro, this is Luka's year. Like, there's no reason why Luka shouldn't win it this year. He got the team. He has the momentum. And based off of, the questionable trade that Timberwolves made, arguably the questionable trade, Denver not re-signing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Like, the stars aligned for the Dallas Mavericks to be a top 3 seed.
I think so.
So why he wouldn't win it this year? I don't see why Luka wouldn't get it. That's the only thing that holds me back from saying it. If it's not Luka, I'm open to Shai because Shai is the next best thing. Well, Giannis, obviously. Giannis, Luka, and then Shai. But I'm gonna say nay. I'm gonna say nay.
Big Nige?
Yeah, I think it's Luka's to lose. I mean, just narratively looking at how the NBA, and it's a media-driven award, this is his revenge season after losing in the finals, the way he did, the way that how they continue to talk about, his defense in particular, even though I'm pretty sure they held the Celtics to, I think, about 109 points per game that series. So they played very good defense as a collective unit. But
come on now. That wasn't the Dallas Mavericks. That was Jason. Half of them possession. That was Jason Tatum settling for side steps. Come on now.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but the numbers do say that they held them to 109. So either way, but yeah, I think it's Luka's to lose. If Shai was going to win one, I picked him to win last year. I don't think you're gonna, even though we went back and forth on that one heavily, but it's Luka's to lose in my opinion.
So is it safe to say Jokic nor Giannis will likely voters fatigue will kick in, and those two will probably not. So it's basically a 3-man race or 2-man race.
No, it has nothing to do with voters fatigue for me. I think that Jokic and Giannis just have no reason to even desire MVP at this point. I mean, Giannis is back to back. Jokic just won 3 MVPs, so like they're cemented in NBA history already. They have the All NBA. It's similar to Joel Embiid. You have done everything that there is to do at a superstar level, to where the only thing you need to be looking forward to at this point is getting
That
to the
ring.
postseason healthy
Get
to
that
win
ring.
another ring.
Okay.
Shea though, still in his younger stage, and even for Luca, he's still in his younger stage too. Like we got to
Yeah,
remember,
Luca
like
is
Luca's doing all of this.
way
This
younger
is only
than,
his, yeah.
and just for historians out there who like to compare, both Jordan and LeBron won MVPs when they were 25 years old. So, this may be Luka's time to do that as well at 25. But Shea, I think, is going to be definitely in that top 3. Oh, my man said he thinks the race will consist of Steph. Okay.
Come on now.
AD.
Where's this Steph love coming from?
Gracious.
Brunson and Ja. Ooh.
Ja might be a sleeper though. I'm with him on Ja. Like he won't win it, but I think he could be top 5 if he takes Memphis to like a top 5.
I forgot about Memphis. Yeah, it's gonna be tough for San Antonio. Okay, yeah.
Now I'm not gonna lie to you. Shay's production is gonna outweigh Ja's clearly.
But I think
I wouldn't pick him over. I wouldn't pick Ja over
test. If
it'll be
Memphis goes from where they were last year to say 3 in the West, I think his name's going to definitely come up because
his name will come up. Like you remember when CP3 led the Phoenix Suns to like the best record in the West?
Yeah.
And he was like 9th in MVP. Like, yeah, his name will be in the hat, but he can get a shout out.
I think
because he's too important to that team to go under the radar. Like they would make such a big blurb about him, and because of his namesake, prior to all that shindig that went down, like he's a big enough name and a big enough draw where he'll be talked about like Anthony Edwards is, talking about like not face of the league, but he's one of the polarizing figures in the league because of his relatability with a lot of like fans. And
I think
he would have to get Memphis to like the number 1 seed for them for his name to ring louder than the other people that we named. Like Luca, his numbers are just so monstrous. Again, like we spoke earlier, he has the momentum, and he's primed to have a top 3 seed locked in. So he's there. Shea, same thing. Like his team got even better over the offseason, and he has momentum as well. And he came second last year. So he's prompt to be in the top 3 seed. So he's there. Like, and Anthony Edwards, even like everybody has been talking through this off season, especially with him in playing with Team USA with LeBron and KD in them. Everybody has been like he's been in the news nonstop this offseason where he's built a little bit of a namesake. And then we also got to remember when it comes to he's still fighting an uphill battle as far as like getting his name in good graces because of the fiascos with the Instagram live. So he has to come in and show that he's ready to put in work. And for him to get in MVP talks, he would have to get them all the way to the number 1 seed. Not saying it's impossible, because just the year before he got hurt, they were the 2nd seed in the Western Conference. So it's not impossible, but that is the tall task that's ahead of him for him to get a legitimate shake at winning MVP.
I think they'll give him the Jalen Brunson treatment if he can get Memphis to like that 3 seed, around that seed come this season, because we saw what Memphis was last year. They were just bottom feeders almost for most of the season, and then he comes back the next season fully, and they're a number 3 seed in the West. So it's kind of, and even the way Shea got his consideration this past year, because OKC went from the play-in to the number 1 seed. Now, that was a bigger leap. That was a pretty big leap. But if I feel like if Ja can get them, around that top area out west, there's no way they won't put him in the top 5 at least in MVP, considerations. I just think they're going to look at that and be like, he's a game changer, so he's got to be up in that kind of area. So because I know Big Naj wants to get to these games. Boston is up by 25, so you're pretty good on that one. But I mean, I know you want to see Bronny get his first NBA points. We got 2 left, and these should be pretty quick. The OKC Thunder will win the West. Do we agree? I partially agree, but I think there are some teams that can challenge them for that spot.
I got Matter of fact, I got hell yeah. Matter of fact, I'll put money on it. Yes.
You got to guarantee Charles Barkley it. Guarantee it.
Guaranteed.
Oh, okay. So we have a guarantee that OKC will return as the best team in the West. Okay. Big Naj.
They have the defensive perimeter. Like, don't get me started. Go ahead, Naj. My fault.
They're pretty loaded. I need to see Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, even though he hasn't looked the greatest in preseason, he did go down with was it a wrist injury?
It was a sprained wrist.
Yeah, sprained wrist. So he's out for a couple weeks. Got to monitor that situation because he gives them the toughness in the interior that they have been lacking. Even though Chet's a great shot blocker, very thin frame and susceptible to the Nikola Jokic's of the world and things of that nature. So I'm not dismissing them, but I don't know if I'm ready to give it to them yet.
Are we talking about them making it through the regular season? Or you saying through the postseason?
Nah, because you said that OKC was going to come out the West, right?
Yeah, come out the West in the postseason. Yeah.
They still got to see that man Jokic, man, and they Minnesota threw a whole team at him, and they still almost beat them. So I get it. OKC all world, but I know Denver has not done the necessary things to be warrant for championship consideration, but I think they'll make some moves, and I think Denver will be right back in the hunt. And then you still got Dallas; they retooled. I'm not ready to give it to OKC when I just saw Dallas beat them, and I know the greatness of Nikola Jokic.
I agree.
Okay. We'll talk. I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about it later.
Oh,
as we go through the season.
We got to come back. Yeah. We'll have these conversations throughout the season.
Boys into believers.
We're going to have you back as much as we can. So, last one. The Boston Celtics will not repeat as NBA champions.
Injuries.
To me, that's the only way I can see it. That's the only way they don't.
Only way I can see them not repeating is if either they see Minnesota or they see OKC.
You think? Okay.
Wait.
So you basically say no team out east can beat them, which I agree with.
I think even my Bucks is gonna it's a tall task. I would be lying if I said that it's gonna be an even playing field. The Celtics are just that talented, and especially if this is last year, I'm feeling more confident about my Bucks. But because it's this year, and they had a year under their belt, they look I know you're not watching right now, Naj, but they look so dominant right now.
Yes,
they literally whatever they want, they're getting right now.
I mean, Drew Holiday killing them. They just,
yeah. So God, I'm gonna go with yeah. I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna go with no.
And that's some good defense, man. That team is.
This is some good defense they playing right now too, and this is without Kristaps. This is old. How old is Al Horford? How long is he gonna play like this?
I know.
The Godfather.
Yeah, Boston. I don't even see a Western Conference team. I'm a slight Denver fan. They beat them twice last season, but I don't think they have what it takes to beat them in a 7-game series. OKC, if they can just gel well, I think they can make it interesting. It'll be way tougher than it was against Dallas. Dallas,
Agreed.
I don't have a lot of hope in Dallas. I mean, I think they're good, and I think they're going to be a top Western Conference team. But I think the stars aligned for them last season, and even seeing Kyrie kind of shrink in the finals, I think that's who he is, and I think that's who we're going to get. You know, no matter what happens, they're just not the team to do it. And anybody else out west, Minnesota, I don't know. I have to see some improvement from some of those other guys, Jaden McDaniel. Rudy Gobert is going to have to give him something offensively. I just got to see the whole package. But I think this is Boston's championship to lose.
Hmm.
And if I had to pick a team out east that could beat them, I wouldn't pick a team. So yeah, I think Boston is just that team, and it's theirs to lose.
If there was a team that actually, if there was a team in the East that has the potential to beat them, God, I can't believe I'm about to say this. Don't tell Zeno I said this.
Philly.
If there was a team that has the best potential to knock off the Boston Celtics, it would be Philly. They have the
Ooh,
interior
okay.
presence, the dominance, the coaching that makes the adjustments on a game to game basis to battle Joe Mazzulla and really outdo Joe Mazzulla. Like Nick Nurse's squad is kept like a top five head coach, really top three.
Then I told you last year. Hey, that's what I said
Uh,
last year. Big Nines
and
didn't
and
believe me.
s- uh, 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 they have the perimeter shooting with Paul George and Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre coming back with his defensive ability. Like they have the pieces, they have the big, the interior pressure. I mean the rim pressure, the rim protection, so that it makes Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown have to be far more perimeter orientated than even those guys. And I'm talking about dudes that just be settling for threes at
Mm.
times. Even they are comfortable with. Yeah, I think Philly is probably the one team, if healthy, that could be able to knock them off. But
Mm.
that even them, like a lot of
Dang,
things have to go their way. It's
Jason
just an
Tatum.
uphill battle.
I'm sorry. I'm just Jason
How many
Tatum is
points
on
do they
tonight.
have?
Who
How many points do they have right now?
man? Jason Tatum is he's got playing with a chip on his shoulder tonight. He ain't missing from three. I
Hey,
mean,
is it fair to say the team that would beat Boston has to be well balanced offensively?
mm-hmm.
That they're not over reliant on just one part,
Yeah.
one aspect of their game.
Can't just be a three type of team. They have to have some inside presence. Um,
And good at rebounding too.
yeah, they got to be able to
Hmm.
rebound.
Them second chance
Yeah.
points kill teams.
Hmm.
But yeah, I would say the same thing. Philly. Philly would be the team that I think could stand in Boston's way.
Mhm.
Assuming health, they have to be healthy. If they're not, which this is why I wouldn't pick Philly to beat them. But you're telling me one team out east, I would pick Philly. But if they're healthy, they got all the pieces to do it. They got the
Ain't have to.
recipe. They got the best, mismatch of the series with Joel Embiid, but you got to see it. And I don't trust
Yeah.
in Embiid's health, and I don't trust in Paul George's health neither. So that's why I wouldn't pick them if you asked me today in this 7-game series.
Okay. Mikael Bridges is playing too, but yeah, I think out east it's just they're racing for number 2 and Western Conference Finals exit. So yeah, so we're gonna finish it up for tonight. I gotta fix some dinner for these kids, and we're gonna get the
Take
rest
care
of
of them
this.
kids, man.
So yeah, we're gonna get into this NBA too. So we appreciate you guys for joining us. Thanks, Players Ball. You've been sticking with us tonight. Thank you, and come back. We do this every Tuesday, 7:30. Try to be 7:30 ish. So yeah, make sure you come back. Subscribe to the channel. Anything parting you want to say? Casual, you want to plug the channel? Anything you want to
Yes,
plug?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please make sure to go and subscribe to Vanity Sports Debates. We have changed our schedule for our basketball show, the Hoopsters, to once a month. Particularly like one Sunday a month, just for us to catch up on the hottest topics during the basketball season. But if you want to get a hold of me personally, please go to my channel, A Casual Sports Fan. I upload videos twice a month. Um, Really informative basketball talks, talking about the Houston Rockets, my latest video talking about Steve Francis and Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming. So if you like that type of basketball talk, please go and check out Casual Sports Fan. And if you guys want to talk more basketball on like a regular basis, I will send a link for us to post in the description after this live is over with. We have a Discord going on where we're watching the games on a regular basis. So if you want to come in just so you could watch your favorite team play, likelihood is we're showing them live in that Discord. So we'll make that happen. But yeah, I appreciate to you guys for allowing me to be here.
No problem, man. I'll link the channel and just send me that your Discord link, and we'll link that too in the
Yes, sir.
description. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll end it by just saying, like, again, appreciate the casual for pulling up. Definitely give him a look in on his channel. This man knows exactly what he's talking about. He talks high level hoops. So I got a
Wealth
lot
of
of respect
knowledge,
for people
yes.
like that who don't just come on here and start bloviating random stuff. He comes correct, and he's a very intelligent basketball man. So I definitely appreciate him coming on the show as always. And me and him will definitely have our Milwaukee Bucks talk in the future. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely,
But
brother. I appreciate it, man.
But yeah, as always, we appreciate you. We appreciate y'all for watching us. Like, subscribe, of course, and check us out next week, same time, 7:30 every Tuesday, and we're gonna have some more basketball talk for y'all.
Yep. All right, guys. We will see you next week.